Hey everybody,
What's up?
we're back, movie reviewing again.
Yes.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, move over, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. You've got a new contender for the best video game movie ever? Because...
That's a low bar to set.
And somehow this movie didn't manage to cross it. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Let me start out by prefacing this that I really like Tomb Raider, especially the version that this movie takes off of, which is the reboot of the game series that they did, and I really, really like those games. Rise of the Tomb Raider and the Tomb Raider reboot. I like the reboot game that they did a little bit more in some aspects, but I like other aspects that they did in the sequel a little bit more too. So this movie tried to combine a lot of what was done in both of those games, and it didn't really make sense, grand total. So,
Yeah.
do you want to do spoiler-free for the first part, and then we'll do spoiler eventually? Or do we just want to go ahead and say, fuck it, spoil it all?
It's been out for like a week and a half. Like, if
Well, I mean, that doesn't matter. I mean, some people are going to watch these and they're going to be like, I don't want them telling me what the end is, so... Okay, long story short, Alicia Vikander plays Lara Croft, who goes to an island to try and find out what happened about her dad, finds an ancient tomb with some weird shit, and has to try and escape. I thought that it was okay. Spoiler-free version, very little of it looked like it wasn't shot on a soundstage. Like, it was really, really painfully obvious that most of the sets were green screened in. Which, like, for the ship sinking and stuff, I can sort of understand because crap like that is expensive to set up, and if you have to do retakes of it, then yeah, it's just a nightmare to get everything set back up again. But it would have lent itself a lot better to the survival aspect that Tomb Raider, especially the newer ones, have kind of inhabited.
Yeah.
So I think that would have worked out a lot better for it. Alicia Vikander tries. God love her.
I think her casting was good.
I thought she was okay. I think she did good with what she had to work with. I can definitely see her doing better in like something better written.
Yes. Did she win like an Oscar?
I don't know. All I know is she's married to Michael Fassbender.
I know she's won something, but...
And now I know
Well, her video game movie was better than his.
Yes!
You beat your husband.
Yes, you beat him for who had the better video game movie, but you didn't beat him by much.
I would dare to say this is probably the second or third best video game movie I've ever seen.
I don't know. I kind of like the original Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie.
No, don't.
Just a hair
that.
more. Just a hair more, because it kind of embraces the ridiculousness of everything that it is, and just kind of presents its own self-serious face as like, yes! We're going here, baby! And I kind of have respect for a movie that does that.
I don't know.
So
I didn't care for those movies that much.
they're not great, but they are fun, dumb action movies. Like, I would rather watch those dumb action movies than a lot of other dumb action movies.
I think, to this day, I think it's sad when the standard for the best video game movie ever is still Mortal Kombat.
And that movie kind of sucks, so...
It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't...
It also
Christopher Lambert as
misrepresented...
Raiden, that was the shit.
I don't know. Personally, I liked Robin Shou as Liu Kang.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was good.
The sequel was terrible, though.
Oh, yes, god-awful, which...
With a bajillion and a half recasts.
What are you talking about? We saw the fall of Earth, and it was glorious! I love that line delivery so much. It's like the pinnacle of awful movie making. But getting back to Tomb Raider...
and this is the part where you fall down.
It tries to take a lot of what the first reboot game was, with her on the island looking for Himiko, the Empress of Death, I think she's defined as in the first game, who is actually the supernatural being that they find out there. And they try and muddle it up with some of the stuff from Tomb Raider 2, like the introduction of the organization known as Trinity, and how they're after supernatural artifacts as well. The introduction of her... I hesitate to use the word nanny, but it was like her father's assistant that they basically were common law married at that point because they had known each other and been together so long. And they try and shoehorn that part in from the second game as well. So anybody who's played that game, you'll get that, but it doesn't happen nearly as well. That's basically the overall thing I have to say about this movie, is it takes bits from the game and remakes them, just not as well.
Being someone who's, like, I've never played those games.
You should. They are a lot of fun.
I've watched Shirley play them. She has fun, but she gets lost at points.
There are some puzzles that are really easy to get lost at, and then when you figure out what's going on, it's like there were 3 puzzles in the second game I was playing, and I was just like, I overcomplicated the dog shit out of these puzzles, and they had like super simple solutions, and I'm just like, fuck, why didn't I see that?
But I think as somebody who's never really been invested in the games that much, I probably enjoyed this a little bit more than
I guess if you've never
someone
played the
who's
games.
played the games.
I guess if you've never played the games, then yeah, I can understand that.
The
bad guy is way too transparently evil.
Yeah, everything.
Like, just when he cropped up, I was just like, the first time he even spoke, I was just like, oh, we're introduced to the bad guy now. And then sure enough, he's like, we had disagreements. That's why I had to kill him. It's like, God, could you try and disguise it just a touch more?
I have 2 really big beefs with this movie.
Okay. None of which are spoiler, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay.
I could use a way to spoil it, but okay, no.
Try and say it without spoilers, and we'll do
beef
that.
number 1.
Okay.
This movie is very predictable.
Yes, and that again is even more tedious and tiresome if you play the games, to where it's like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're just failing at it horribly.
And I will also say, don't watch this movie over and over, because I saw it twice and it was not as good the second time as it was the first time. I thought it was fine. I thought it was perfectly okay as a movie.
Right.
The second time, I'm just kind of like, and I started nitpicking at things. That leads to number 2. She did not realistically survive on this island.
Yes. Again, that kind of harkens back to stuff they took from the first reboot game, but didn't do as well.
Well, there's certain stuff
which
that
I'll get into that more when we get into spoilers.
Yeah,
So.
My recommendation would be, if you like the Tomb Raider games, it does give like nods and stuff to it, but they had to make this for Hollywood. I don't think you can like copy and paste, otherwise we'd have like a 5-hour movie.
Well, no, but at the same time, they could try harder than absolute bare minimum.
Like I said, not knowing much about Tomb Raider going into it, I'd say I'd put this on a matinee or a solid DVD rental.
If you're just hell-bent on seeing it, then yes. If you have some time and you would like to see everything in this movie done better, just play the games.
Yeah.
If you have the time, that's my recommendation. Just play the games, because everything that's in this movie is in those games, and it's the story is parsed out better. The action is way more intense. You'll just have a better time overall.
Yeah. Now we're heading into spoilers.
All right, so there you go. If you don't want any spoilers, that's your cue. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Here's what I'm talking about with my second beef as far as she unrealistically survives on this island.
Yes. You may not enjoy the games then, because she unrealistically survives a lot of shit on that game.
Well, it's not that. It's like if I was on an island with a bunch of people fucking chasing me,
Yes.
and I managed to get away from them, and one comes and finds me, and I end up, like, by the grace of God, killing this guy, I'm gonna steal everything off his fucking body.
But she had to go find the mysterious figure who was watching her.
I would have gotten a gun and I would have
That was
grabbed the gun.
That was my immediate suspicion. I was like, the gun, Laura, the gun. Oh, okay. We're just
I'm like, the gun, the rounds, all the shit that's on him. He probably has some grenades and a combat knife. Something, bitch. Take it. Don't chase after what turns out to be your not dead dad, and just take his makeshift bow and arrow. I love bow and arrows, but I will take a gun any day of the week.
Well, therein lies some of the problems. As far as survival goes, like there's a lot of they like lift scenes almost verbatim from the game. Like the ship crash,
Yeah.
is done on a much bigger scale, and it looks way better in the game.
Yeah.
Her falling through the forest after surviving the jump off of the aircraft that's been destroyed there is directly lifted from the game, but it's done better there.
Yeah.
So all the while, all this shit is happening to her, I'm just like, I've already seen this, and you're not convincing me that you're actually on a giant aircraft carrier that's about to break in half, and you don't actually look real panicked. So I'm guessing she doesn't. Alicia Vikander doesn't do well against green screen.
I thought
When she was with other people, she was fine.
she also when she had to like fake that she was like in pain when she was pulling the thing out of her, I thought she did good there.
No, she's fine when she's actually interacting with things, but I
Yeah.
think she's one of these actors who doesn't do well with green screen.
I'll agree
Which
with
is
that.
perfectly, I think that's perfectly fine. You just got to know your projects, and boy howdy was this one not a good one. No, basically that's going to be my mantra for this review is the game did it better. And I hate to do that because I know you have to change stuff and tweak stuff to make an adaptation into a movie.
There's
I'm
no
not
good video
an idiot.
game movies though. Name me one fantastic video game movie.
A fantastic video game movie?
None.
There aren't. There just aren't.
Exactly. And
Well, that's part of the reason is people, when they make these movies, they're like, oh, let's recreate this scene from the game. And it's like, you're not going to get the same reaction you got from the game.
yeah. I think we actually had a discussion in this. Usually, the better the game, the worse the movie.
Yes, I have a truism about that. If you have a really good game, or you have a really good movie, and then there's a video game tie-in, 90% of the time, the video game tie-in will suck ass.
Yes.
Contrary, if you have a really shitty movie that has a video game tie-in, the video game tie-in ends up being better than the movie.
Like Riddick and Wanted.
Yes, I will agree with 50% of that, because I actually really like Pitch Black. Like, a lot.
Yeah, but the game was after like the Chronicles, the shit.
No, it was a prequel to Pitch Black.
Oh, okay. Well, some of the Riddick movies are just kind of meh. I like Pitch Black, but the other two are just.
Pitch Black is a really great
meh.
movie. I like it a lot.
I think we thought of one exception to the rule.
Well, it's Scott Pilgrim.
Yes,
But Scott Pilgrim is kind of a horse of a different color altogether.
because it's a manga that made a movie that also made a video game.
Yes.
And they're like that's the only one that breaks all the rules. But
Well, it kind of broke a lot of rules when it was made too. So
Yeah.
there you go. No, this movie, I kind of got most of my beefs out because, like I say, the introduction of Trinity was done as a huge plot point in the second game. And in the first game, it is literally her trying to survive on this island. The bad guy is the bad guy from this movie as well, but he's just this nut job who's been on the island for like close to a decade. Like Himiko is an actual mystical person whose magics are controlling the weather around the island and is making things very difficult for anybody who goes into places.
yeah, and this it definitely. I think that's where it kind of went away from the Tomb Raider part. Is it just wasn't. It wasn't really I guess they were trying to make it practical, to where she wasn't magic, but she was a carrier for like a super disease.
Right, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to recreate that first reboot game.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to change one of the key plot points for it, why bother even doing it? You could have just done something else, and you probably would have been a lot better off for it. Her using the bow was a huge introduction from the reboot game. A lot of the survival images, like I said, came directly from the reboot game, only they were way, way more brutal and hardcore in the game.
Yeah, I know there like the game, like the bow was a big thing, and the tool.
Yeah,
I can't.
the climbing tool.
Yes, that was also a big thing, and they just kind of put those in there. But for real, you would grab a gun first.
Yeah, there comes a point in the movie where she kills a guy, which happens again. I hate to keep saying this, but it happens in the game as well, and it's way more impactful because she is stranded on the island with another group of people that she came there with. And one of them is a guy who took care and basically acted as bodyguard for the Crofts, a guy named Roth. And she kills a man, and she's talking to him about it later, and he's just like, it must have been really hard for you. I'm sorry you had to do it. And she laments that actually it was frighteningly easy. And it kind of becomes that turning point for her where she understands the value of taking a life. And how much impact it has. In here, it's just, oh, he's dead. Okay, great.
Well, you get that look on her face, but then immediately the mysterious figure that ended up being her dad.
There's very little impact for her, which again kind of comes from the game being much better because it gives those moments time to breathe. And when she does go through a hellacious situation where she gets beat the shit out of, you have a moment or two to stop afterwards. Collect your breath and go, oh my god, okay, I am so glad I don't have to do that again. Let me go get a drink, do something, I'm at a safe point.
Dude.
But you have that emotional reaction that came from it.
Also, I knew nothing was going to happen because at the point where she goes into the pawn shop, that little end thing scene where she gets her guns,
yes,
is in the goddamn trailer.
Yeah, it's in the movie. I hate when trailers do this. They show the last scene of the movie in the trailer, and I'm like, and so all the while I'm like, oh, okay, so we already know she's gonna survive this, but we already know what's gonna happen to me. Thanks a lot, movie.
Yeah, like I was like,
now
oh,
I will say, I kind of like the idea of this plague that is introduced, because in the game, while the supernatural is present, Himiko actually being this almost deity-esque figure sitting on top of this mountain, needing to suck the soul out of her friend to be revived, really just kind of comes out of left field in the game, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I thought I was just surviving against a bunch of crazy-ass natives on the island. And that would have been fine. So I actually kind of like the idea of it being a virus, or something, like they could have done something a little more mystical about it, but I thought that would have blended a little better into the first game. Because, again, it's been a while since I played it, but I remember playing it and just sitting there going like, where the fuck did this come from when this starts to happen?
Dude, it was painfully obvious that the nanny was going to be evil.
Oh my god, every single... I keep doing this, but in the game, it's done better!
It's just so painfully obvious that she's the bad guy, and I'm like...
And she's somebody who's not introduced until the second game. So,
but she came to bail Laura out of jail because Laura does illegal bicycle races to make money.
Of course!
Because there's such a big problem with racing a bicycle.
Well, that's kind of the problem. In the games, Laura's dad, is killed. It's made to look like suicide, but he is murdered. And so he's not missing. I mean, he is flat out dead. Like, Laura walked in on his body, dripping blood out of his head. So it's like, well, there's no ambiguity. He is dead, and so she has taken the Croft Manor and title and all that, and she's helping to try and unravel what the fuck her dad was looking into when he suddenly died.
Yeah.
And that's where the first of the reboot games comes in.
I think that would have been better than just her dad showing up on the island.
It would have, because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Because when it happens, I kind of thought they were going to take another part from the game, which is actually one of the creepier parts, where she ends up finding somebody else not long after she's been shipwrecked there, and she isn't sure if anybody else made it off the island, and she meets up with this really creepy guy in a shack, and he almost rapes her. And so I thought, like, when she finds him there, I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to turn out that he's this creepy guy, and she's, like, mildly hallucinating because of blood loss and massive amounts of trauma that she's endured at this point. And it's not going to be her dad, and she's going to wake up, and it's going to be this guy. He's like, oh, I wanted to be a gentleman, and wait! And I'm just like, oh, that's what we're going to do. But they don't, and they just ended up being her dad.
And that's where she got her bow from.
And that's where she gets her bow. She can't craft it herself. She has to have it given. She has to take it from her father. And again, I honestly hate saying this. Because I see it all the time with other movies that are based on books, but I like the movie better. Where they say, oh, but something's not done particularly well, and they're like, oh, it's better in the book. And I'm like, that's great, but the book sucks, in my opinion, so I don't care. And so,
What?
I'm just talking like as a general thing. Like
I'm trying to think of.
I'll not enjoy something, and then people will say, "Oh, it's much better in the books," and I'm like, "Well, that's great, but I don't like the books."
Like
So,
Jurassic Park? Like Jurassic Park?
no, I actually do like Jurassic Park a lot. The characters are awful in that, though.
I'm trying to think what book and movie you would be talking about.
Like I say, I'm just using it as a general statement.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of why I didn't enjoy this, because I now end up being one of these people where I'm like, it's just done so much better in this other medium to it.
This is one of those, like, movies, though, where it's like, fuck it, nothing super big is coming out for another month and a half. Like, they put this movie out because it was after all the hype from Black Panther died down and before Infinity War.
This feels like it should have been a January movie.
You're not wrong.
This very much feels like it should have been a January release, where they know nothing big is going to be out. They know they're not going to have a lot of great with it, so they just shove it at the beginning of the year and say, fuck it, it's January.
The only other possible big movie coming out before, and it's already been, like I said, a week and a half, you have Ready Player One coming out, which could be hit or miss. We
we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But either way,
we got like 3 days.
Either way, this movie was just okay. If you're hell bent on seeing it, then wait till it's on DVD or Redbox or Netflix. I mean,
I'd say if you got like $6 and want to catch a matinee, if you're like a super huge Tomb Raider fan, like
I don't honestly, I didn't enjoy it as much, but I would say give that money to Black Panther. I mean, it's still in theaters.
Or wait, hold on to it for Ready Player One.
Yeah, just save it for a little bit, or buy an advance ticket.
Buy an advance ticket to Infinity War.
Or that.
That's.
Or better yet, use that $6 and rent Blade Runner 2049 and Shape of Water. Both movies way better than this. Blade Runner looks way better than this, and Shape of Water has a much better female lead.
Still did better than her husband, though.
Yeah. Anybody else think it's weird that not just her has a fairly intimate knowledge of what her husband's penis looks like now?
That's really out of left.
I'm just saying, it's one of those weird things. It's like, No, we both know what your husband's dick looks like. Not sure how I feel about that.
Wait, where did you see Fassbender junk at?
Or did you not? I'll tell you later.
Okay, I think I missed the movie somewhere.
You may have.
Um,
We'll see you later, everybody.
Later, guys.
I'm gonna leave Jared pondering about Fassbender's penis.
No.
And big floppy wieners!
Alright, George R. Martin.
There's a man who should have been in Game of Thrones.
I can see Miss Jamie Lannister.
Later, everybody.